The rise and fall of OK Zimbabwe. For decades, OK Zimbabwe was more than just a supermarket chain. It was a symbol of stability, trust, and everyday life for millions of Zimbabweans. From urban towns to small cities, OK stores were part of the rhythm of daily living. Families bought groceries there, workers passed through its aisles after long shifts, and generations grew up knowing its name. But behind the familiar shelves and crowded tills, a silent struggle was unfolding, one that would eventually shake the foundation of one of Zimbabwe's most iconic retail brands. OK Zimbabwe's story begins in a time when formal retail in the country was still growing. It positioned itself as a reliable, well-managed supermarket group that could serve both middle-class families and everyday workers. For years, it expanded steadily, opening branches across the country and building a strong brand reputation based on consistency and affordability. At its peak, OK Zimbabwe was a dominant force in the retail sector. Its stores were always busy, its supply chains were strong, and its brand was deeply trusted. For many, shopping at OK was not just about convenience, it was about confidence in quality and price stability. However, as Zimbabwe's economic environment began to shift, cracks started to appear. Inflation became unpredictable. Currency instability made pricing difficult. Supply chains were disrupted. Costs of importing goods began to fluctuate heavily. For a business built on stable pricing and consistent stock, these changes created serious pressure. OK Zimbabwe was forced into constant adjustments. Prices changed frequently. Stock shortages became more visible. Some shelves that were once full began to look empty at times. Customers started noticing differences in experience compared to earlier years. Competition also intensified. New retail players and informal markets began attracting price-sensitive customers. People began shifting where they shopped, looking for cheaper alternatives or more flexible pricing options. The once dominant supermarket chain was now fighting to maintain relevance in a rapidly changing economy. Internally, the challenges grew even more complex. Rising operational costs, pressure on margins, and difficulty in maintaining consistent supply chains placed strain on the business model. Even with strong brand recognition, survival required constant restructuring and adaptation. Despite these challenges, OK Zimbabwe did not disappear. Instead, it began transforming. The company explored cost-cutting measures, supply chain adjustments, and strategic restructuring to remain afloat. Stores were re-evaluated. Operations were tightened. Every decision became focused on survival in a volatile market. But the bigger question remained: could a legacy retail giant adapt fast enough to survive in a new economic reality? For many customers, OK Zimbabwe still represents nostalgia. It represents a time when shopping was simple, predictable, and stable. For others, it is now a reminder of how quickly economic conditions can reshape even the strongest brands. The story of OK Zimbabwe is not just about one supermarket chain. It is about the broader reality of businesses operating in unstable economies. It shows how external forces like inflation, currency shifts, and supply chain disruptions can reshape industries, no matter how strong the brand. Today, OK Zimbabwe continues to operate, but in a very different environment from its golden years. It stands as both a survivor and a symbol of resilience, adaptation, and the harsh realities of economic change. Its future depends on one thing: the ability to evolve fast enough to match a changing country. And in that struggle, the story of OK Zimbabwe is still being written.